Hey guys, thanks for joining me. This is Stacey with SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services, and this is part of our new series we call Whatever the Trade Is Only. And in this video, we're going to be reviewing concrete. So, this is part of our concrete only, and we're going to be reviewing a set of construction documents from the ground up. And as the contractor that's handling all of the concrete, where do we look? What do we have to review? And that becomes a little, if you're new at it, then, enjoy the convo I'm about to give you. And if you have any questions on anything that I have presented, please email me at education@sfjohnsonconsulting.com. And so, the contractor that installs concrete, there's pretty much a three-way point process that we need to review if we want to look at everything in detail. When it comes to concrete, I mean, we can just do everything based on an assembly price, right? Which assembly price is just going to combine the price for the formwork, the rebar, the reinforcement, and then to pour the concrete and to finish it. But we want to be able to break down a set of construction documents and all of those items individually. So the first thing we have to figure out is which of the sheets are we going to look at to do the takeoff. And so we're going to, over this week, we're going to review, do a full takeoff of the structural set, because the structural set's going to give us all of our foundation concrete. And what we're looking at right here is a copy of the paving plan, because the civil set, which is in the civil set, the C plans, and the C plans are going to show us where all of our driveway, parking lot, curbs and gutters, all of that concrete is located. And really our first step is to do the takeoff, which means to look at the plans and calculate all of the measurements. And, if you do this for a living and you just have to hurry up and get an estimate done, that's not wise, and there's 10,000 tricks of the trade if you have to do that. But as professional estimators, we always take our time, get the measurements, get a reliable cost book, because I can't emphasize enough that if you are going to perform competitive bidding, especially when you're talking about $100,000, $200,000, $1 million projects, you really want to give the best detail as possible. You really want to know how many man hours it's going to take. You really want to have your details squared away. You really want to know how many man hours is it going to take to lay the foundation, as opposed to the driveways, as opposed to the curbs and gutters, because you, as a professional contractor, even as a general contractor, it's really important to keep on schedule, to keep on time, and to, if you're on schedule, you're going to be on budget. And if you're not, then you're not. And so it's important to, as a professional estimator or a professional contractor, it's important to get a good estimator, or to get a good combination of a takeoff software and a material cost software and a good formatting procedure, which really, if you have one nicely formatted Excel spreadsheet, you can use that over and over and over again, just edit it. And that's what kind of we recommend. We have specialized Excel spreadsheets for every trade, because we know what should go on in every trade. If it's a HVAC system, well, yeah, we have to include the cost to balance the system. If it's a plumbing system, we have to include the cost for the rough ends, if it's from the ground up, that kind of stuff. So it's important to be able to have a professional format, and Excel, of course, has been used forever. So, and Microsoft has professional contracting spreadsheets, and all of this new stuff that they've created over the last 10 or 15 years to help you create very detailed formatted estimates. And really, sometimes the general contractor will give you the format they want you to use, because yeah, they may break down. They want the cost for, the curbs as opposed to the driveways as opposed to the foundation, or they may want the rebar cost, right, separate from the concrete cost. They want the concrete totals in cubic yards, right? So you got to be able to do all of that. So what are we looking at? This is a coffee shop, so we have a very small plan, easy to review, very small plans, but this is our site plan. And so yeah, we know that our driveways, right, and our walkways and all of that, and our curbs, and we have to measure. Make sure you measure, because the cost is going to vary if it's a straight curve as opposed to the curved curve. Okay, and so we're going to review this, and I'm going to come back with the full takeoff for everything based on this, right? The keynotes. And so you endowed concrete curb. What's the dowd? We got to look at the detail, right? So we have to look at all the details related to, and the civil set's going to give us everything, right? Painting the concrete, the symbols, but we're for concrete only. So we are only looking for everything related to our concrete scope of work. 5-inch light duty concrete pavement, 6-inch, 6-inch heavy duty, medium duty, light duty, sidewalk. Okay, so what we're going to do for our purpose is just get a square foot total for everything and a linear total for all of the curved curves and straight. And then we're going to come back and see what the takeoff looks like, right? So all concrete, and we can start here. I'm just going to start, and of course you got to start by knowing what your scale is. And on a civil set, the scale is always somewhere special. Here we go. So for every inch, right, it's 20. 1 equals 20. I agree. And then now I can use this. No, I don't want to use the segment tool. Let me cancel that. Let's use our ruler. Okay, so between 1 and 10, this should tell me it's 10 if the plans are to scale. Now that's close enough, right? All right, so yeah, so I'm just going to look at my keynotes, start with what's easier, and then I'll just call it curb 1A, curb 1B. And then later I'll look at what the construction of it is. And then we've got the 19. You got to make sure you know what that is. Let's see what that is. Okay, 2-foot V-notch curb. We'll just note that. Okay, and so let's see. We go from a 1A to a 1B. And so I'm going to say curb 1A. And I will make this boring for you, because I'm going to do it all. Boom, boom. And so everywhere where it's straight, I'm going to do all my straighties. And I think maybe at this point here, it starts to curve out. This is a 1A. Do it to here. This one. Because our formwork is going to have to curve. And that's an extra cost for all of that and the labor involved, right? Okay, so we won't make this boring. We'll leave it to there for all the straights. And 1B will be the same way. Now, we need cubic yards of concrete. So what we do is we measure how many square feet and times it by the thickness. That gives us cubic feet. Divide by 27 gives us cubic yards. And so, or did I say divide? It's pretty much division. When you multiply by 6 inches, you're dividing in half. Same thing, right? And so we do with our square feet. Let's just say let's just do this right here. And we'll say Which one is that one? Medium duty concrete. So we got an area tool on that one. MED duty. CON. We don't have time to type a lot. We got a lot to do. Right? So that's all of this. And so we're going to go back and do our curved curves. But then we're going to just do something like that. Make it all nice. And see, that's our curve. So we're not going to include our curve. So we do something like that. We just try to stay. And I can make it more curvy. You just got to pan in to get on the curve. Okay, so let me pan out a little bit. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Let's get a little bit more over here like that. And then we're going to go like that. You know, construction. It's fun, right? It's like coloring. It's like we're coloring. It's fun. When you have good tools. We'll go a little over. Okay, so we got the little apron, right? So if we had to do, and in a good cost book is gonna, you have a different cost for the driveway apron. That's what that is, right? So how many square feet is that? Oh, 554, and so times 6 inches, right? So we would basically divide that in half, 250 plus another 25, whatever, cubic feet, and then divide that by 27 for cubic yards, because you buy concrete in cubic yards. All right, so that's this, we'll just do that all over the place, right? All over this set for either this concrete pad, this one. We don't care about the striping because we're not doing that. Okay, if we were doing that, then we get our linear tool and measure, because it's to scale. So whatever I'm measuring here, I'm going to be measuring all concrete. Now, we have to go to, because from our plan view, right, we only see the plan view. We don't know the reinforcement details. We don't know anything else, okay? So we have to make sure we go to see note below, 15 feet, control joints. How would we do that when it's not shown? Pretty much this is how you do it. Control joints in any area, what you're going to have to do is take your segment tool, because it's not shown, and I'll call it CJs. I'm just going to have to go from one end till I get to 15. Stop it there. Okay. And then the control joint is this way. Same thing. Every 15 feet. I can stop it here. I mean, you're not going to be exact, but you are going to be close enough. Or you could just measure the whole thing, divide by 15. Right? Divide by 15. Do the whole thing, divide by 15. Because that tells you every 15 feet we need to. And then just do whatever this is. 30 feet. So divide by 15, if I got 15 of them, 15 times 30 feet, that's the length of the control joint, because you got to measure your control joints too. And if they're not shown, that's the best way to go about doing it. Okay, so that would be for our civil set. And then we go to our, we'll do the whole thing. We'll come back with all the totals. And you need to join me, because for all of we have the new program for every trade. So we have for framing only, for painting only, for concrete only, for electrical only, $9.99 a month. You join me live. You send me questions. You have your own set. We'll set up 45 minutes. You get that twice a month or as much as you want. I love teaching. I don't care. But the whole point is to give you continuous access to everything related to your trade. So it's not only the estimating, it's basics. It's if you want to get your trade license, then we go over the particulars on that. The basics, anything related to OSHA and construction, right? We know what's related to the concrete and OSHA, right? The silica dust. So we teach you all of that, give you information about that to stay safe. So it's basics, three pretty much aspects. The basics of everything. So basics could be anything from basic takeoffs to form work basics. And then estimating, of course, what we're doing here. If you have any questions, we'll answer your particular questions for work that you have of your own. And then OSHA related topics related to concrete and doing the trade of concrete, how to keep you safe, what's the PPE, what's the standards, what's the violations, all that kind of stuff. And for $9.99 a month, you can't lose. What am I saying? What are we saying? So let's go to, now that I've done my commercial, let's go to the foundation plan. And this is a little project. So they have our roof, and this for roof, well, for frame, for framing only. We'll talk about that one, and the for framing only, and what all this is, and if we have fabricated metals. Is this fabricated metals? No, it's 2x12s. Beautiful. Okay, so here's our top of slab with number 3 bars at the 18th. Placed 1/2 inch clear from the top of slab. Provide 10 mil vapor barrier. Okay, so yeah, this again, same way we did the control joints. If we want to get the exact how many linear feet of the rebar, we know we're putting it is it both ways, each direction, each way, EW. And so if we do how many linear feet for this way, right? Because we're talking about the rebar that's going to go this way. And so we say we have however many linear feet that is, divide by, well, turn it into inches, right? Turn that feet into inches and divide by 18. Right? Because you're placing every 18 inches, so you're going to take that length divided by 18. You know how many positions you have to put the rebar, right? But then you're going to put it this length, right? So that's the rebar for this length. Opposite is true for this rebar, right? You measure how many linear feet, whatever that is, and it is 38, 39 linear feet. So we know 39 linear feet turn into inches. Divide by 18 inches. That's going to tell us how many placements our rebar is. And then those many placements times 18 feet. So you just that quickly have done your rebar totals. Okay. And so what's our continuous footer look like? We need to go to image number 1. On a S 2.0, let's see, I knew I'd go past it. Image number 1, so that's our typical footer. Oh, that's the hold down. Wait, hold on. Yeah, image number 1. Oh, there we go. Wrong page. Image number 1, continuous footer. So, yeah, let's do this rebar, right? You have 2. Number 5, continuous top and bottom with the number 3 stringer at the 18s. Okay. So you can figure that out. We got to figure out how many linear feet of continuous footer first, right? And then our continuous footer is 1 foot 6 inches by whatever this height by 2. Okay, so we can break that down by how many cubic yards of concrete, and we can determine how many linear feet of number 3, number 5 we need. Very easy and very much fun if you're a nerd. Okay, so for concrete only, we got to be able to do that for our cost estimate. All right, so we got to also, because if the reinforcement is our deal, right, we've got to figure out how many of these we have as well. Anchor bolts, because that's going into our concrete. That's part of our reinforcement for the structural framing. Okay, and so that's why they give you these section views, so you can do the boom, 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 and do the math by the 18 inch 3 inch, whatever it is, and do a very accurate takeoff. Okay, different section views going to give us different information. Okay, so we've got to make sure we look at each one individually and do the takeoff based on what we see. Okay, so for concrete only, for this from the ground up, we're going to look at our civil plan, right? Civil is going to give us all of our concrete driveways and asphalt and curbs and gutters, and really the supports for all of our signs and things of that nature. All of that has to be looked at. Okay, our support foundation for our handicap parking signs. That's part of our scope of work too. So have to be aware of everywhere your scope of work is going to show up, but most definitely from the ground up project, you're going to review the full civil set. And then, of course, you are the foundation, right? The bottom of the building. And so you got to make sure you are looking at the foundation, all the section views, so you can determine how many cubic yards of concrete as well as how many linear feet of each of the types of rebar and the vapor barrier. And for excavation only, we'll go over how we determine how much to cut and fill, right, based from that grading and site plan on the grading plan, and depending on the condition of the site, we may have a site demo plan, we may have a, who knows what kind of band. We may be doing more than just grading, right? Light grading, we might have to do some serious excavation based on all of that. So join us here online at our website every day, usually Tuesdays through Saturday, where we review everything, every trade, every aspect, so you can be excellent at what you do. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.